What is up, guys? First stop is back. It is such a nice day out today. 60 degrees. Couldn't be more perfect.
It's gorgeous weather.
Gorgeous weather. You know, we're back at it again with the new style. We've been getting a lot of momentum on our YouTube channel. A lot of people are liking the clips.
A lot of people love it. Yeah.
I definitely like the new style. A lot more to talk about. So let's go right into it. So last night we were going crazy about this new song.
Yeah, new song. It's trap country.
Trap country.
So and two things that I never thought would go together, but now we have trap country. We'll play a bit for you guys. I think you've heard it. It was certainly on TikTok.
Oh, yeah.
But now it's featuring a big name in country music, something actually kind of nuts. Let's give it a listen.
Yeah, I'm gonna take my horse to the...
So I actually really like that song.
It's good.
I actually really like that song. We'll definitely play that after the next music break.
Yeah. So it used to be on the Billboard's Top 100 for country. 19, I think, was the position it was at.
Was it?
Got kicked off because people didn't think it was true country.
Yeah, no,
It's not true country.
It's not true country at all. No, we can talk about country music now because my problem with country music is it determined by the style of how it's played,
Interesting.
or is it determined by the person who sings it? And here's what I mean. For example, Cole Swindell, country music singer, produces a country song that sounds like more like a pop song, but it's in the country genre. That goes more to the name of the singer be representing of the country song instead of what the genre is, which is, however you're supposed to define country is guitars, acoustic, traditional drum sets, maybe an electric guitar tuned more blues sounds. That's what I think of when I think of country.
Oh, yeah.
Chris Stapleton, for example. If Chris Stapleton were to come out with a rap album, would he be considered country? I think yes, because today's country music scene determines or defines country music as the singer, not as the genre.
Yeah. It's interesting. I would also say I'm a country fan only in the summertime, though, I would say, because I can't really get into the mood for it. But I will say that when people say, oh, I love country, and they, list off their first artist, and it's Florida Georgia Line, it's more pop, I think so.
Yeah.
But like with this song, you said when you introduce the trap element to it and like the, beats that are not acoustic, it's from a computer basically.
Right.
It's not true country like Darius Rucker and who's the other one? Like Life is a Highway.
Oh, Rascal Flatts.
Yeah, that's what I think of country.
Right.
I really like Rascal Flatts, but I do think that if this were to be included on the top 100 list, that could mess the whole genre up, which isn't a good thing.
Well, I don't think it's country. I think it's a trap song featuring a country music singer. That is Billy Ray Cyrus.
Yeah.
You have a one-hit wonder, which is Lil Nas X, meeting another one-hit wonder, Billy Ray Cyrus, Achy Breaky Heart.
Yeah.
So we're going to get a really big one-hit wonder, which is Old Town Road remix.
Old Town Road.
I like it. I mean, definitely would play it. It's kind of like a meme, though, now. You're playing a country. Well, I say country pejorative. I mean, like it's a country song at a party. Like we don't go to Alabama.
This could be like the 2019 Mo Bamba.
Yeah, it really could.
Yeah.
Ooh, I might play that after this too. I love that song.
Yeah,
it's a good song.
It's alright, but I don't know. Country music is Just talk about music in general. Country's your favorite music, you would say?
No, folk is. So
folk,
it's
okay.
It's more. It goes more to the because my problem with country was it strayed away from its roots, being far more less Americana than it was. Folk is far more banjo heavy, not bluegrass. Bluegrass is solid, but obviously I'm not in the mood certain times for bluegrass. Folk is far more acoustic. Lyricism is central to folk music. Like they have to have solid lyrics.
Yeah.
They can't rely on good sounds like say a Luke Bryan or Florida Georgia Line do. Folk also kind of encompasses kind of like the small studio movement that has kind of hopefully, or at least I hope so, upsets the big Nashville studios. And so that's why I like folk at least. I'm also a big EDM person too. That's a separate obviously mood, but I like EDM house music, stuff like that. Like Kevin, are one of our correspondents. Those are kind of it. And also classical. I used to play cello, so I like classical music. It's really like, I think as far as music perfection goes, classical nails it on the head. It is the most perfect sounding music by far.
Yeah, I like I love like just soundtracks.
Yeah.
I guess that's classical in a sense, right?
Yeah.
It's like Hans Zimmer, like that gets me going.
Yep.
But yeah, like I don't know. I think everything just sounds the same nowadays. Honestly,
Yep.
like it's the same beat. It's the same. Well, I was talking to Gerard, one of our philosophy writers, and he said that there's a video, you've probably seen it, where it broke down that every single song, popular song, comes down to like the same 3 chords, or something like that.
Right.
So.
Well, because there is an power in the number 3, and with music especially in music theory, 3 is the most solid foundational number in music theory.
Yeah.
And so if you have a 3 chord or even 3 note beat or 3 note melody, you have a song that's pretty solid, and if it sounds good too, obviously.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Have you ever been to a country concert?
No. So one of the big things to do in Northeast Ohio, if anyone's interested for Northeast Ohio, you go to Blossom Music, not hall. It's like an outdoor pavilion. It's basically like a massive. If you look up Blossom Music Center online in Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio, that is the place to go for classical music concerts, which I go to a lot with my parents. But in the summer, you go to the country music concerts, and we had like Luke Bryan, Florida Georgia Line there, Chris Stapleton in the years past, in such. Chance came in 2016. So I mean, it's just a music pavilion. So no, I've never been to one. That's kind of like the bucket list in Northeast Ohio. You got to go to a country music concert at Blossom because it's such a sweet vibe. It's this massive green space with a pavilion, and there's just like everyone and their brother coming out of the woodwork in Ohio, coming up there.
Yeah.
So no, I've never been. Have you?
No, a lot of my friends have been to country concerts that I've seen from like their Snap stories and stuff, and it seems a lot of fun.
Yeah,
everybody kind of pulls up in their trucks and
just
kind of jumps along.
Trucks or any 4-wheel drive car.
Oh, yeah.
No one's pulling up in a Prius.
Oh jeez, like in Chicago, Lollapalooza is the big thing in summer. I haven't been to it. I'm not a big concert guy, I would say, because they bring out basically what it is. It's basically 5 headlines, I would say. So I think last year they brought Post Malone, like 21 Savage, like 5 big artists, and then it's a bunch of smaller artists that aren't well known but trying to get their name out.
Yeah.
It's like 3 or 4 days, and dead middle of summer in Chicago, so it's super super humid. Yeah. Kind of disgusting out. But yeah.
So yeah, Blossom Music Center. We have. Do you remember Weezer? That song Beverly Hills. Back in 2007.
Oh, no.
Okay, you probably have recognized it, but Weezer's coming, apparently. They're still on track. Lady Antebellum.
I like Lady Antebellum,
yeah. Dirks Bentley, I think that's his name. He's coming to there. Hootie and the Blowfish. Wow, throwing it way back to the 90s. I did not know they're still. Brad Paisley, that's the big one of the year. That's August 2nd. But no, Kane Brown, he's kind of like the new face in country. Pop country.
Deep voice.
He's a deep voice. Yeah, no, his voice is deep. Rascal Flatts, August 15th.
Might as well come down.
Might as well come. Dan and Shay, Florida Georgia Line.
Like
Maroon 5. Wow. So, I mean, like big names. Peter Yarrow. He was in, what's that one 70s band? Peter Yarrow. What was Peter Yarrow in? Do you know or no?
I don't know.
Okay. Hold on. He was in Peter, Paul, and Mary. That was it. Okay, no, you never heard of it. Okay, no. Peter, Paul, and Mary. It's a 70s song. Puff the Magic Dragon was their most famous song. It was like hippie songs of the 60s and 70s. It's pretty solid. But
yeah, you want to listen to the song? Take a quick break.
Let's do it.
All right. Here is Off Town Road.
Old Town Road remix by Lil Nas X featuring Billy Ray Cyrus. So
we were listening to that song on your new speaker that you got. What is it? A Sony?
Sony XB40.
It's actually pretty good.
I like it.
But you used to have, was it a JBL? Was it?
No, it was the same one.
Same one.
It was XB40.
Okay.
What happened was going back for winter break.
Yeah.
No, I was coming back here from winter break. So this was like January, mid-January. And I go open my bag. I'm like, oh, wow, I think I'm missing something. What am I missing? Well, it comes out I'm obviously missing my speaker. Yeah. So I call my parents. I'm like, where the hell's my speaker? I definitely packed it because I remember where I packed it. Packed it in my checked bag, not my carry-on. And they said, well, okay, we'll call Cleveland Hopkins Airport. So they call Cleveland Hopkins Airport. Nothing found, but they started a claim.
Yeah.
Called JetBlue as well. Started a claim and an investigation, a formal investigation, if that's very reassuring. it comes down to it. A month later, nothing. Case closed. I mean, they actually closed the case, and so lost my speaker.
You think one of the guys opened it up probably?
So what happened was they probably, when they were scanning check bags, they always scan check bags. They see this big black box looking thing with wires in it. They're like, that does not look. That looks suspicious.
Yeah.
Even if it doesn't look like a bomb, it looks suspicious.
Yeah.
So they pull it. It's probably on the separate rack. They forgot to put it back in, and someone was just like, "Screw it, I'll just take it." And so they just took it at the end of the day.
Jeez. That's the one thing I found with the airlines is I think my parents were telling me a story that they went on a trip somewhere, and now on all of our suitcases when we travel we have blue tape on the handle so we know it's our bag.
Oh yeah.
But they used to not do that, so some guy took my dad's bag by accident, brought it to like his own hotel room. So he called the airline trying to find his bag. He's like, "Where's my bag?" So it took a good week to get his bag back. But
jeez, he got it back though.
he got it back.
That's good.
Yeah, but
Yeah, it was a great story. No, that's solid though. I mean, there's some people in the airport that have like the weirdest looking bags. Yeah. Like one had they taped bunny ears on it so to differentiate their bag. Like, okay, how many bags have you had that you need to differentiate it with bunny ears, right? I mean, how absurd.
Oh no, yeah.
But airlines these days, am I right?
These days, am I right? Do you like? I mean, we both have to fly out to Boston. You drive up though,
in the beginning of the year.
Okay, yeah, I'm always flying out because I don't think that's such a long drive.
For you, it'd be like 16 hours.
Yeah, it's a long time.
Or 12. Yeah, no, it'd be like 14, 16 hours.
Yeah, 14, 16 hours. But I used to really like flying. Like, I like the whole experience of it, but now it's just like I can see how people don't like flying. There's so much stress.
Oh, it is.
With, delays and stuff. I don't like it.
I don't like it. I don't mind delays as much. I just don't like the everything. Like, you walk up to the airport, and then you're like, shit, I gotta take out my ID, gotta take off my shoes. I gotta take out all this stuff.
You gotta get pre-check.
I know. I
takes
really
20
do.
minutes to get. I got pre-checked. It saved you so much time.
No, that's true. I have to really consider that. But it is just a lot of stress,
Yeah.
and then they charge you, $5,000 to fly. It's like, really? I'm only going to Cleveland. And then they're like, oh, your bag's overweight. It's like that Steven Maniscalco bit. Like, the only joy the TSA has is when they say your bag is overweight, and they know you have to get on the ground and start opening up everything. You have to start basically like, what looks like 2 pounds? What looks like 2 pounds? You're hopelessly wandering around like, oh, what does 2 pounds look like? Yeah, it's the worst.
No, yeah. I think for me, it's like I've never seen so many people be so excited to get on like the plane when they start announcing groups.
Oh, I know.
You want to get your bag up, and like that's the most stressful part for me because once I couldn't put my bag up, so I had to put it back like 7 rows behind. Oh, it's awkward because like my seat's here.
Yeah.
I gotta put my bag here, just hold up here. But it's like people are putting stuff up there that shouldn't be up there.
No, I know.
They're putting their coats up there.
Yeah.
They're putting their shoes up there.
Well, yeah, coats. I got yelled at.
Meals up there.
Meals. I know. Like literally, like textbooks. It's like, what the hell are you doing? Yeah. No, the
George Foreman grill. What?
Yeah, it's like, what the hell, a car? No, I got yelled at one time for my coat being up there. The woman came by, this really old, scraggly looking woman that really had probably no enjoyment in her life ever. Yeah. Her face just exuded like, I am just awfully depressed and I want to make your life miserable. Comes up to me, sir. I'm like, yeah, what? She's like, you can't put your coat up there. It must be under your seat. I'm like, what difference is it going to make that it's up there instead of under my seat? Everyone else is seated. Everyone else has their bags in there. It wasn't like they were fighting for bag spots. My coat's just up there saying, it has to be under your seat. Like, okay, what federal regulation says that coats must be under the seat? None.
Well, the weight, it doesn't matter where the weight is, I don't
know. You got 600-pound dude next to me who's just like eating nachos. I know. Like, his weight doesn't matter, but my coat being up there does. Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
That is.
Yeah, dude.
Airlines. Well, I mean, I don't know. What are your thoughts on JetBlue? Have you flown JetBlue?
I flew it once because there's not a direct flight to Chicago for JetBlue. I actually really like JetBlue because, for me being, 6'5", 120.
Yeah.
It can be very uncomfortable sitting down, so I always have to get like the extra leg room. But JetBlue, all the seats have more leg room.
I know, extended leg room.
I also didn't know that they provided channels.
That was really cool. Do. Yeah,
that's sick.
I've flown United, and they go with the Airbus 380.
What's that?
It's an Airbus. It's like the European version of Boeing. And it's a different plane. It's the bigger planes, but it's a weird layout. It's nice, but there's no screens on the back. It's very, very close together, and then also the cargo space above. Like there's 3 rows, aisle 3. The bag stuff ends at the second person's like right shoulder. So you're just feeling right out in the open. You're like, it's really a weird feeling. So
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of flying that. I like JetBlue though. I mean, they've come a long way. They wanted to kind of be the cheap direct flight that no one ever had, because they were competing at the time when they first came about, basically to outseat or displace United and American and Southwest, all those others, because all they did was they just started connecting people, and so now you had 3 stops to get from Atlanta to Tallahassee. It's like, why do I have to go over to San Diego to get back to Tallahassee? And so JetBlue's like, no, we're going to do direct flights. And so they've mastered direct flights pretty well.
Yeah.
They've gotten down pretty cheap as well.
Yeah. I usually fly American.
Yeah.
And I will say that I like how JetBlue doesn't have like classes.
Oh, okay.
Like American, it's very like elitist.
Really?
Like when they close the door.
Oh, do they close the?
Yeah, they close the
wow.
first class. Have you ever flew American?
No.
Yeah, they close first class, and
that's funny.
they'll serve you, like before you take off, they'll serve you water. What kind of water do you want?
Oh, wow.
Sparkling,
wow.
tonic. It's like, what do you want? And then you can. It's just very. There's always a bathroom up there too. So like, if I'm sitting in row 12, it's closer for me to go to the bathroom in first class. But sometimes they'll be like, no, first class only.
Oh wow!
So I have to go back 47 seats, try not to like fall into like some guy's lap.
Try not to piss on some guy if you have to go really bad.
Geez.
Oh, sorry, man.
Sorry, man.
Yeah. Wow, no, I've never done that. I've never flown that.
Yeah. But I think I like JetBlue. I'll definitely fly JetBlue in the future out of school when I don't have to go back to Chicago. But yeah.
Yeah. My roommate last year, he knew airlines really well. I think he wants to go in that industry someday, business of some sort. He basically mentioned Alaskan Airlines, from Alaska. Surprise. They want to be the JetBlue of the West Coast, because he was from San Diego. And he said he's taken more Alaskan airline flights from Southern California to Northern California than ever before. He said it's Alaskan Airlines, why are they in California? It's because of the same mentality. They said, JetBlue did well on the East Coast, being the direct flights. I can get on a direct flight from Boston to Cleveland, maybe $200, done. Alaskan, same way on the West Coast. And they really want to start bridging that whole kind of, transcontinental gap between LA and Boston, LA and New York.
Yeah.
And so he said they'll be the one to watch in the future for, not only number of flights offered, but also quality of flights and also directness of flights. They are kind of the ones. And I was kind of surprised by that. Alaskan Airlines is a really small, basically, their main role was to get people from Anchorage to, where the hell it is up north in Alaska, middle of nowhere.
Oh, yeah.
So. Have
you seen Emirates?
Oh, the Abu Dhabi one?
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah,
they're so sick.
Yeah, no, it's
Casey
crazy.
Neistat, who's one of my favorite YouTubers, he did a video where he was on the first class.
Yeah, with those pods.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Pods, showers.
Yeah.
There's a bar on the plane. It's crazy.
It's like that one James Bond scene. I forget what James Bond it was. But he goes up to the bar, basically, and there's like 3 decks on this one airplane. I'm like, how'd they do that? And how does that thing actually take off? But he goes up to the bar, and obviously, like in typical James Bond style, he's like, what will you be having? Dry martini, shaken, not stirred.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just like so smooth, and it's like
yeah.
on an airplane. Like, yeah, those are sweet.
Awesome.
Those are sweet.
Yeah, I think one of some guy, I wasn't close with him, but he wants to be a pilot when he's older.
Oh wow.
So yeah, that'd be cool. Like, have you seen the movie? Oh no, what were you gonna say?
No, I was gonna say the guys behind us in Globalization. We're in the same class. In Globalization, one of them is actually a pilot. Because he was behind us. He must fly like regular prop planes, the smaller jobs. But he basically was someone was asking him about like, oh, what's this signal mean? What's this signal mean? And he's like, oh, it's like, null not 40. I'm like, wow, this dude knows like, apparently he's a pilot. I'm like, that's pretty
awesome.
Sweet.
Jeez.
Yeah. What were you about to say before I interrupted?
No, I was gonna say like with the whole Boeing crisis.
Oh yeah.
I was just thinking of like how crazy. Like, have you seen the movie Sully?
I haven't seen it, but I know the premise.
Yeah. Like, just being, like, flying, like, the chances of that happening is so slim.
Very.
But with flying so much now, that we're in college, going back home, like, it's always, like, such a nerve for me,
Yeah, they said you're more likely to die in a car crash than you are in a plane.
Yeah.
And you could fill the amount of car crashes, deaths in, like, a month in one plane. Basically,
wow.
Yeah. So it's far more likely to die in a car than it is a plane. I think the reason why people get so freaked out is because they don't feel like they're in control of the plane, right? That's all it is.
And you're 10,000 feet
10,000 feet above, and you're just like shit.
Jeez, that's crazy.
Yeah. After this quick music break, we'll come back and talk about.
Very, very interesting topic.
Yes, we are going to do that. All right. Keep it locked and rocking here at WZBC. So after some technical difficulties, because my computer is like a dinosaur at this age, we're back.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about something deeper.
Deeper.
We're going to go to the extremes of our psychological limits. No, not really. But we're just going to talk about college.
Yeah.
And what has our experience been so far?
Yeah.
And how does it compare to high school?
Yeah.
Is it like high school or is it not? Jacob, lead us off.
Yeah. First off, camera's fine. We also record such video, so I want to make sure the frames are right. Yeah, I think both of us, we had, expectations of what it was going to be like, how schools present themselves,
Certainly.
at the, admission days and when you visit on tours and stuff. I think the biggest thing for me was I didn't want it to be like high school in the sense that you had you had your jocks, you had your popular groups, you had maybe the nerds, you had this and this and that, and there's a hierarchy. I wanted to go to a school where there were people were similar to me, where I had a broad range of interests. I wasn't just classified as one group. So when BC did this, and a lot of groups do this, they present themselves as very well-rounded students, very holy, very this and this and that. But in reality, that I've learned, and I think at every other school when I talk to my friends, is that there are people like that, which is awesome. But it really is for BC, I feel like high school round 2.
Mm-hmm.
So
And how I would view high school is going off there's a dramatic social hierarchy here. I think partly due because we don't have a formal social hierarchy called frats or Greek life. So we'll create our own and we'll have, kind of a culture like that. I think wealth plays a factor in that as well. This is a very wealthy school, and I think those who are, uber wealthy kind of align with themselves with other uber wealthy kids. And, I don't think they exclude anyone, explicitly, obviously, but it's more that subconscious, subliminal, implicit kind of exclusion that definitely takes place. I think high school was far for me like set routine. Had to do this, had to do this, had to do this. Someone was telling me to do all this. You had class from 9 to 5, 9 to 5, 9 to 3, 9 to 2, maybe. And then, your social life and social groups were kind of dictated by the whims of, prepubescent, postpubescent children and emotions, right? And they're kind of just going all over and stuff like that. Certainly as a student now, a sophomore, halfway through college, which is crazy, it feels the same. Feels the same in the regards of people's interactions feel like high school again. Very not immature, because that's a very pejorative term and I don't want to demean anyone, but certainly it is far more childlike, and it's not like that mature level like you would feel in like a grad student situation, like that one house party we went to with grad students. Far more elevated conversation. The conversation topics were far more self-actualizing and enlightened than just like what do you do kind of shit. So I mean, I don't know, I just felt like it is still kind of like high school, that we're still the kids who are in high. It's like what Kanye said, we're still the kids we used to be, and that, well, he didn't say it, but he wrote it for that one woman in the one song on what was that album he dropped in the summer. But we're still the kids we used to be. We're still those kids in high school that now are just older and have a name behind us.
I mean, just to make clear to our viewers, I think BC's an awesome school. Like, it's been an awesome experience so far, but it's more so just like knowing what I do think. I like college. I love college because, like you said, you have the opportunity to do what you want. Right. You can never have the opportunity to do this show, in high school, or have the time to do it. Especially, I love the classes. I love the professors. But I think socially there isn't a big change from what high school was. No. So. Now, I would say going off of time, I think we are more pinched for time. That's what they said, at least, and it makes sense. You have fewer classes and you don't have 5 classes a day like you did in high school, but it's filled out by what you want to do, homework, study. Exactly.
And now we don't have set sports requirements, so then you have that freed up, but does it really feel freed up? Not really. No, it really is kind of just a different light. I've spoken to some friends who go to other schools, state schools mostly, and about their culture and stuff like that. Now they have frats and stuff, so it's different kind of vibe. You get far more of a of a social scene that is very exclusionary. Here it's more
Yes,
inclusionary. In certain lights. I was speaking to a friend from Ireland, and he kind of came over here and was like, "Wow, U.S. or at least BC, it's very weird. You can't knock on someone's door like you can in Ireland with 2 beers and say, "Hey, can I come in and party?" No, you have to know someone in that party, and maybe they'll let you in. Which is it's so true. I mean, look, you go to Walsh. If you don't know anyone in that room, you're not getting in. You knock on the door like, "Oh, who do you know here?" It's like, okay, what is this? Like some bouncer club?
Yeah.
But that's all throughout the U.S.
Yeah.
Frats and non-frats, non-Greek life schools. But like in Ireland, it's completely different. You just knock on to them. It's like, oh yeah, they're down to have a fun time.
That's what my friends were saying too. They go to Indiana, and they said the frat life there is really, really big, in the sense that if you're not part of a frat, you might not have a social life.
Yeah.
They're in business frats, so it's a lot more inclusive. They said, and it's not all partying. It's also just more rounded kids. They think, right. But that was the biggest thing when I was looking at colleges. I don't know about you, but the way that frats were presented in media and entertainment, I was just pushed away from the idea because I thought it was like super kind of hazing and like just kind of crazy partying, and like I wouldn't connect with the kids very well. So when I was looking at schools, I didn't like even look at schools that had like a big Greek or frat life. So that's why BC, stood out. A lot of Catholic schools stood out because of that. Right. But I think what I'm realizing is that because I have a friend at Harvard, and I've been to like a frat. We both have been to a frat party there, right? And it's not how it is like crazy rah. It's more of like a club that you join.
No, I think that's dependent on the frats too. I mean, that the frat we went to was more of a.
It was a Jewish frat that Mark Zuckerberg was in.
Exactly, but it wasn't really like it wasn't a house party we went to. It was a weird underground basement.
It was Rushing.
Yeah, it was Rushing. So like it wasn't like what you would stereotypically see in like a movie event for say like a house party or whatever. Yeah. But certainly like I have a friend who goes to OSU. And it's just like huge there, obviously. It's just massive. And you have to go to the house and you rush the house and stuff like that. And you just have massive parties on, I forget what street, like the famous street there's like, not South Street, is it like, I forget, but we have a South Street. But no, it's different. I would say too, even when there's no formal structure in place for, frats or whatever, you're going to create your own. Look at BC, we have the mods. The mods are realistically a frat. If you get a mod, then you're set for senior year with the social life, right? You literally turn on music, people will show up. So
yeah, would you want to join a frat if there was an opportunity for it?
Probably not, given that I want to pursue my educational career. No, I just don't see myself fitting into a frat or to be in a frat for that matter. I do like more social interactions. I'm far more of an extrovert. But I don't think that's the best way to, optimize or capitalize on any social experience. I think they served a purpose in the 20s, 30s, 40s. Like when my grandpa was in a frat at Miami of Ohio, they served a purpose, kind of a bond, fraternity kind of thing. Now it's just weird, and they're actually declining in the U.S. given all like the weird hazing events.
Yeah. I think it's more of a social capital thing. Like you can say I'm a part of Alpha Theta Psi.
Alpha Theta Psi?
What does that mean?
Right, exactly right. No, it is all social capital because we are social beings, and given that we're social beings, we value hierarchy and we value structure and we value feeling superior to others, regardless of what that superiority is defined as, right? And I think now, since frats are dying, because not only any introductory ritual is common for any group. Whether it's explicit or implicit, right? If it is actual hazing or if it is a orientation, right? You have to be introduced to a group somehow. You have to pay kind of the price of membership, social price of membership. Frats, though, have taken it way too far. They've kind of created an exclusive high price of membership that is just weird. Yeah. The stuff they do is just weird. Not drinking. That's kind of moderate now. It's weird stuff. And that high price of membership then ultimately gives those kids a sense of I am superior to everyone else because I survived rushing or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you, I guess, kind of turning topics, do you have any advice for like viewers and stuff? Because we're second year in, it's gone by so fast. That's a crazy thing.
Yeah. Do
you have any advice for kids who are for college? What to expect? I think the biggest thing for me is, not to. I think freshman year the biggest thing is like, I think everyone goes through an adjustment period. Yeah. Like for me, I knew no one coming in here because I grew up in a community where it was high Jewish concentration.
Right.
So not a lot of kids were looking at BC
Like Catholic
naturally.
schools.
Exactly. So I didn't know anybody coming in. I'm naturally an introvert. So I think the biggest advice I can give is just in that first 1 to 2 weeks is just to put yourself out there.
Yeah.
And also know that it's not awkward to do that because like even though kids may think and put on a show that they know what's going on, they're like inside they're crazy.
They don't know what the
They're-
F
they're
is
so
going
scared.
on.
They're
Yeah.
so scared. So if you know that they feel that way, it gives you more comfort.
Yeah.
That's my thing.
For me, at least, mine's obviously far more goal driven. The whole advice that people give, especially guidance counselors and stuff, going into college is like, oh, you'll find out what you want to do later. No, that's the biggest amount of bullshit I've ever heard.
Oh, okay.
Know what you want to do in life right when you hit the
Yeah.
ground running, so you're not scrambling. There's kids I know that have switched majors so many times they don't know what they want to do. Now they're kind of lost. Even people in my own family, that they switch majors, don't know really what they want to do. Know what you want to do. Have it fleshed out. You have to do a lot of soul searching. It's very, very harsh criticism, and it's very, very harsh advice, but it truly will help you. Know where you want to be in 10 years. Know where you want to be in 30 years. Know where you want to be at retirement. Then you plan your life off of that. Because if you don't know what you want to do in college, you'll just get into like the drinking culture and then just do nothing, right?
Yeah.
You won't join clubs. You won't do podcasts. You won't do stuff that will actually enrich your resume as well as give you joy and and kind of explore that stuff. Yes, explore what you're good at, but you should know what you're good at by the time you're a senior. If you don't know what you're good at by the time you're a senior in high school, like, okay, what have you been doing, right?
Yeah. I think,
So that's my advice.
I agree with that to like a certain extent. I feel like I think it's hard to know exactly what you want to do, but you should have an interest, a general area of interest. Okay, I want to go into this field.
Yeah.
So when you apply to the business school. You don't need to know finance, econ.
Oh, exactly.
Figure that out later.
Right.
But I do agree with you that it's important to know what your general interests are.
Right.
And one thing that I was brought up knowing is that if you don't know what you want to do, you should just do business because you can do a lot of things with business. So that was my biggest thing is that when I was a senior, I really didn't know what I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
I had a growing interest in media and entertainment and maybe wanted to work in the industry. But I also realized that getting a degree in film studies or, photography, cinematography isn't the most feasible way. And there's other ways to go into that industry.
Exactly.
So I thought that getting a business degree would be good. One, because I've had an experience in it, so I don't even know if I really like it. And two, I have that to rely on. So, yeah.
Another piece of advice I was always given too is come up with the greatest or grandiose goal. Become president, land on the moon, do whatever. And then you work towards that goal, knowing it's probably unachievable or whatever. But when you work towards that goal, you will accomplish so much already that you will literally land on the stars. Like shoot for the moon or shoot for the stars. If you miss, you land on the moon. I think that's like Pitbull.
Yeah.
I think but I really think that's a very, very valid point. Because, when I was in middle school and ultimately high school until sophomore year, I really wanted to go to Naval Academy. And so what I did was I structured my entire life around going to the Naval Academy. I ultimately didn't go to the Naval Academy, but what it did was it set up a great trend for me to say, wow, I did this, 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 and this before going to the Naval Academy. I didn't go to the Naval Academy, but now it's allowed me to do this, right? And so shoot for literally the biggest goal you can think of. Achievable, right? If you're not an outspoken person, don't say you want to become president, but to say if you want to, run a media company, then you will tailor your whole life around running a media company. Say you don't do it, you're still done all that stuff.
Yeah.
Who will help you, somewhere else.
Yeah.
It's kind of like pulling back a slingshot, aiming for something. If you miss, you still had that much potential, energy saved up, and you can go much farther than what you thought. Right?
Yeah.
It's like a big old slingshot. I
think also what you're talking about too is I think a lot of people do this, but you idolize and you fantasize about the end goal. Mm-hmm. I just want to do this. I just want to, direct. I want to be president. I want to do this. So if you don't get it, then you just fall apart. So what I'm really trying to do right now is knowing that to get to that end goal, it's like a bunch of small steps along the way. Yeah. So it's appreciating and loving the small steps and the process and knowing that it takes, 20, 30 years to get to that end goal or career goal you have. Right. Because as we just said, 2 years in college has gone by so fast. So if you don't really slow down and just appreciate the moments, then you're going to regret it if you don't reach that end fantasized goal.
Right. No, that's so true. And I think also you obviously have to love what you do.
Yeah.
Either you get direct happiness from it or more like existential happiness from it, like you're fulfilling your existential duty. if you have those two things, then you're set, right? Say, you want to go into the military. Well, obviously, in a corporal sense, it's very painful and stuff like that. They have to go through such rigorous training and stuff like that. That's not enjoyable.
Yeah.
But it's the goal of serving a country, of serving a greater goal or higher
Yeah.
purpose or whatever. So if you love what you do, then you're set.
Oh, yeah.
If you hate what you do and you don't see how that's going to help in the end, then don't do it.
Oh, no.
Right?
You'll be successful if you love your job because you're going to go in there giving 150%.
Exactly.
And also going off of that, what was my train of thought? It's the idea that
No, it's fine.
I'm blanking on it.
It's fine. No, yeah. Another piece of advice I was given from an English teacher, he was kind of a clown. I mean, he was a clown. Definition clown of a teacher. But he said, fake it until you make it. And this was more of kind of in the short term. Say you don't like anything, you fake it until you make it. Because then you not only show yourself that you can have discipline, right? Say you... I don't know. Let's come up with an example. Say you're working at a coffee shop and you hate the coffee shop. The boss is mean. The coworkers are just, a-holes, stuff like that, right? You fake that relationship until you're done with it, right? Until you have to go back to school, until you cashed out your final check or whatever. You fake that because if you don't do well at your job, it reflects poorly on you, and people will be like, wow, he did that. He just really collapsed or whatever. Yeah. Fake until you make it. That was also a very, very solid, given that this guy was actually faking his... He actually got fired from our school because he apparently forged his resume. So he truly was faking it until he made it. So that was really, really funny. But
I was going to say, that reminded me what I was going to say was that's why I really like, we're both taking organizational behavior right now.
Yes.
And I really like that class, even though it can be a little bit like, oh, what do you think?
Right, buzzwordy.
One of the things I really liked is the idea of, have you learned about job crafting?
Not yet. I think ours are reversed.
Okay, so job crafting is the idea of finding meaning with your work. Okay. So you can do that 3 ways. I feel like I'm a professor.
3 ways.
No, you do task crafting. So you basically, you find different things you can do outside of your job limitations. Relational crafting, which is basically like, instead of working within your own cohort, you meet other people in other departments, so you feel like you have a bigger mission. And then 3, which is the biggest one, is I don't know what it's called, but it's like ideology crafting, which is how you perceive your job. So they showed an interview of a woman who was a janitor at a hospital, and she loves her job. Maybe she doesn't get paid the most money, but she's like, I love my job because I view it as I'm not cleaning toilets, but I'm actually helping patients feel better. I view my job as bringing them a smile when they feel bad and stuff. So she made her job bigger than what it actually was. So I think that's the biggest thing too, is back to the coffee shop idea, that if you view your job as more than, oh, this sucks, I'm just making coffees all day long, but no, it's about building a relationship with the customer, making them feel good. That can make you feel better, give you 100%, and then what you said, that'll help you in the long run because wow, Jacob gave 150%, give this guy a chance.
Right. After a quick music break, we're going to break down how Kant and the ends theory that Jacob just mentioned relates not only to life, but how it will relate to your job performance. Keep it locked and rocking here at First Stop Media Team. All right, welcome back to now the philosophical First Stop podcast. So I'm going to basically set up kind of what we were just going off of. So Jacob mentioned how you're in a coffee shop. Your job sucks. You don't see an end in this. You don't see how your greater existential goal is being played. But he says what you should do, and I obviously agree, is you treat others as the end. Basically, you cultivate that relationship with the customer. You basically create value for the business out of your own goodwill, right? And it kind of goes to the heart of what Kant says in the categorical imperative. Basically says you treat others as ends. Like, it's the golden rule, but Kant, explains it in more of a secular light. He wanted to create something that was not religious-based, but more secular and philosophical-based. And so he says, basically, you treat others as ends, right? You hop in an Uber to get to Back Bay in Boston. You're not going to treat that Uber, or you shouldn't treat that Uber driver as a means. You and some cosmic reality and some cosmic timeline were put in the same car together because to cultivate some relationship, right? Because either they were having a good day, you were having a good day, they were having a shitty day, you were having a good day. Now together you can do great things, right? That relationship that you've created can now create, a third thing, which is, happiness, joy, etc. Yeah. And so that treating others as means to an end, ends in itself, not means to an end, is kind of the best motivator for any work. And if you want to take it from there, I think.
Oh, no, yeah, for sure. I think that just goes down to the basic idea of just treating people with respect. Because I think that I'm a big believer in karma and what comes around goes around, whatever, that saying. Yeah. that if you do good things for other people, you treat them with respect. That, if you ask something for a return, or if they're looking for someone to do something, they'll come to you first time around. So I think just treating people with respect, and that does go a long way. Especially, we're young, we don't have a lot of say in this, but we're definitely getting the sense and idea of there is the idea of just going all over the place, but that what's it called? Your
Ego?
Not ego,
Super
but like how
ego?
people view you.
Oh, okay. Perception.
Your perception of someone is established in like 7 seconds.
Right.
How you present yourself.
It takes 35 times of 7-second encounters to reverse that first impression.
So what you were saying was, if you show up all like, terrible posture, not looking good, not confident, that you're going to feel bad yourself, but then others are going to view you like that too.
Exactly.
So.
Right. No, and it goes to the heart of, our CFO, Austin, texts us and he says, freshmen are so weird. They really are kind of insecure and stuff like that. And I think for me, at least, I forget what it was, either Jean-Paul Sartre or probably Nietzsche. He's a really strange dude. But basically, any insecurity or any lack of confidence or fear in itself is basically goes to the heart of not coming to terms with death. And death is a very, very dark thing. But either social, literal, or metaphorical death, right? And I think it was Jean-Paul Sartre came up with the fear of social death, right? The fear that your social capital might plummet and stuff. And so freshmen are a perfect example. I think everyone's a perfect example. Yeah. But certainly freshmen, they have yet to come to terms with social death, right? Yeah. What is the goal of having social capital? It's to use others as a means, not as an ends, for your own will, right? Because if you have enough clout and influence, then you can influence others to say, hey, I need this internship. Hey, I need this. I need you to do this for me. Hey, I need to go to this party. Do you have connections, et cetera? It's to establish those connections. What they haven't come to terms with, though, is, the death of those social, connections is inevitable. I mean, any connection is about to, is inevitably going to end because, you move on. There's something that changes and you move on. So that ultimately terminates that social connection. They've yet to come to terms with that. And once people come to terms with social death or any types of death, as Nietzsche would say, and Jean-Paul Sartre, basically, then you have mastered confidence. You have become kind of a better person. You're not crippled by fear or anything else like that.
Wait, so could you explain the idea of what do you mean by social death?
So death is a very strong term. I mean like social ties ending, right? Terminating, right?
So understanding that that's
understanding that that's inevitable. Understanding that as Nietzsche would say, death is inevitable, right? It's understanding that I myself will die someday. It's a matter of how old I'll be and how I'll die. But we're all going to die someday. Might as well maximize every moment instead of being crippled by fear. Because people who live by fear say, I'm horrible arachnophobic. Like, I hate spiders. Like, I actually had to sleep in a different room in my house when there was a spider. Remember, I hate spiders. Yeah. But that's because my inherent fear of it may kill me. It may, do harm to me. I haven't come to terms with an actual, the inevitable, right? And so by coming to terms with the inevitable, as the Dominicans do quite well, they say, we're going to live a life of poverty because we're ultimately, what is the purpose of this life if not to the glory of God? And we're ultimately going to meet with him someday, right? If you don't live your life to that extent, you're going to be crippled by fear for your entire life, right? And so going off the social death, ultimately your social, they're going to do something in the social sphere that will make you look absurd, an idiot, something like that. You just have to tell yourself, like, well, that's going to happen some other time. It's not going to happen now, right? Yeah. And if you come to terms like, well, that's inevitable. It's going to happen. I'm going to maximize this moment instead of saying, well, this may be the moment that I, terminate all my social contracts or whatever. Yeah. That's what they're explaining. And I think that goes to the root of fear, and it goes to the root of social fear, especially with insecure freshmen in McElroy trying to get bagels, right? I mean, that's like little stuff.
I think too, freshmen, they just feel so lost. And like they want to hide that. And they haven't come to the terms with the idea that it's okay to not, like you were saying earlier, it's okay to not know exactly where you want to work, what company or stuff. Like, I feel like freshmen, I think all people in college just feel lost at some points, and like just knowing that that's okay to feel lost and that it's kind of a weird time and it's a weird intermediary part in someone's life.
So I going off that, if we're still going on the advice tree, I'm definitely more of a hardo when it comes to advice. Yes, accept the fact that you're lost, but then get unlost, right? I mean, because
for sure,
right,
yeah.
exactly.
Be
As you were
motivated
saying,
by it to get rid of it. Yeah.
Exactly. I have a friend of mine who always was like, well, I'm going to start doing this. I'm going to start doing this. Start doing this. He never does it. Why? Because he comes up with excuses. He comes up with reasons like, oh, well, I was too sore. I was too tired. I was too this. No, you just got to do it because there is no better time than the present. I feel like a motivational speaker right now. But that's really the core of it.
Yeah.
It's frustrating to see from the outside someone who's like, well, I'm going to get better grades. I'm going to do this. What have you done right now to reach that goal? And if you've done nothing, then you've done nothing. You've reached nothing.
Well, it's so much easier to say you want something than to actually do it.
Do it.
So if you're not doing it, do you really want it?
Right.
That's the thing. Like, that's the biggest thing for me is with YouTube. I've had, previous YouTube channels, vlogging and stuff, and I've tried it. I've liked doing it, but I've had so much fear up until now to really have the courage to put my own content out there because I'm so afraid of what people will think of it. If it's cringy, it's not cringy. But you're so right that, like, right now, at our age is the perfect time because we're not 30s, like, in the middle of a career. We're not, I don't know, it's just, like, the perfect time where you're saying. Like, we tried vlogging last night, for example.
Oh, yes, we'll talk about that.
And it was, I think, same with our first podcast. It was a little rough. We'll get more comfortable around the camera vlogging, but I was really concerned with, like, how it was looking, vlogging stuff, but you just can't care. You have to be confident with, I'm doing this because I enjoy it and I don't need someone else's acceptance of that. And
I think if you want to go more philosophical too, we're all, kind of responsible to society. I agree with that. I'm not an egoist like Ayn Rand or something like, oh no, I'm an individual. I don't have any, there is no such thing as society, as Margaret Thatcher said, out of context. But I think we do have a duty to society to uphold our end of the social bargain, etc. But off of that tree, social capital and stuff like that is a made up thing in a certain light. It does exist, obviously, as we can see in Friday nights, Saturday nights at BC or anywhere. Social capital does exist. You just have to accept the fact that, well, why do they have a say of what I have to do, right? It goes to the whole fear part too. Is like, why do they get to dictate what I have to do? They are just as cringy as I am. They just hide it more. They have certain clout from whatever reasons. And I think that goes to kind of the core of like fear, right? And social fear with freshmen, for example. So I don't know where else I was going to, but we can talk about the vlog.
We could. Yeah. I've always been a fan of vlogs. David Dobrik's definitely my inspiration. Like he grew up in Vernon Hills, Illinois.
Okay.
10 minutes outside of where I grew up.
Oh,
so
wow.
He's 22 right now. And he's just such like a big like influence to me. One, because he started on Vine.
Oh, wow.
So when Vine 2 comes out, I will definitely be hopping on that.
Oh, you got to hit up Jacob on Bit.
On Bit when that comes out in the spring, hopefully in a few coming weeks. But with his vlogs, he created a very different sense of vlogs. Like before with do you know Logan Paul?
Yeah.
And those guys, they used to be really obnoxious, and you have to be obnoxious around the camera to get attention. Naturally, like that's how you get views and stuff, but it's not sustainable. As we saw with Logan Paul and his fallout with the Suicide Force. He got all caught up in his ego and the character that he was putting on. But David's vlogs are a lot more kind of sincere. Like, this is kind of what me and my friends do. Just kind of bits, funny stuff like that. And he's, like, a very hard worker. I can tell that. Like, he has other aspirations. He wants to go into more traditional Hollywood and that kind of stuff. And he says he wants to be, like, a late-night talk show host one day. And, but I just really admire kind of his work ethic and putting content out there. So that's why I wanted to start vlogging, because of him. I saw how much fun he was doing, and that if you get good at it, you can make a career out of it, which is the crazy thing with today's technology.
Right.
We talked about that with my editing class last semester, that with the rise of, personal laptops and phones, that you can make a movie with your phone. It might not be the best quality, but it's still content. Now, what that does is that it brings a lot more people to the market, but it's also going to drop the quality. You have a lot of, crap, but you also have maybe a few gems here and there. So, if you want to be a creator, if you want to be an influencer, you can do it today. Like with your phone, you don't need to buy a Canon. You can, you just gotta make it. Yeah.
Right. I mean, we use Canons for the podcast. Like, how much do those cost?
I don't know. We use Sonys that give us.
Oh, these are Sony.
Well, we have.
I mean,
these are Canons, but they're like not expensive Canons.
Okay.
Or well, they're expensive. I shouldn't say that, but they're not like the highest quality Canons. But we didn't go out and buy like our own we just went to the media service and we're just like, hey, can we get this?
I think Minnow spoke on this before when he was on. Basically, he wanted to rap and he wanted to end up rapping, but he was like, okay, what better times now is I'm going to start, writing down lyrics and stuff like that. He said he took 2 to 3 journals of hard rap lyrics that he wrote down, absolute crap, threw them out. But he said those 3 journals got me to the point where I am today to write, right?
Yeah.
So even if you start content, whatever that content is, whether it's public speaking, film, podcasting, writing, you got to write a lot to get into the groove of it.
That's the hardest part.
And that's the hardest part, because then you're like, oh, maybe this is not made out for me. Well, you'll find that out in maybe 3 months. Give yourself 3 months of doing this stuff, then see where you are after 3 months, see where you are after 6 months, see where you are after 9, etc. Do those quarterly reports. Do those quarterly installments like Minnow did.
Yeah.
And obviously we know where Minnow is. He's a very solid underground rapper. You know, and he's
putting out content daily, and he's doing good.
Daily content, increased followers. He just went on a live Instagram feed stream with someone.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's growing. We obviously took some time to get used to it. I mean, how many times have we changed the podcast format? A lot, but
we're just trying to find our way. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's the hardest part too with YouTube, especially, and everything. It's consistency. Like you got every single interview I watch of YouTubers saying, being asked the question, "How do I get in the position you're in?" They're like, consistency.
Yeah.
It's gonna be crap at first. Like when I look at my old, videos I made, I love them. I love watching them, but they weren't the highest quality. But I still put them out anyways. Even when you go to popular YouTubers now, when you click the drop down filter to oldest videos, their style of videos are so different from what they are now.
So different.
It's a journey. So
it's a journey that you got to make today, and if not today, when? Not you, who?
Exactly. Podcasting, studio. Then we went to like a classroom. Back in the studio.
Yeah, the class. Well, we won't talk about the classroom phase. That was a trippy. That was a trippy phase. That was a dark time.
Yeah, but I guess if people are watching us on YouTube now or on SoundCloud, just know that we're not big yet, but we're gaining a little bit of momentum. Right. We're being more constant with our updates. Right. So if we do get a bigger follower in the future, if we're lucky enough, it's just important to know that we started out.
I mean, it's taken us 2 semesters to get to now.
Yeah.
Right, so yeah, it took a lot of time. We knew what we wanted to do. We knew we wanted to have a podcast. Yeah. We knew we wanted what our content wanted to be. We have a website that we're hopefully going to start working on again, like with blogs and stuff. We know where we want to be, and it's just a matter of time about what that looks like, right? And what does that truly look like?
Yeah, that's the biggest thing too. Is with these aspirations that we have with the podcasting. Another advice for school is I'm really trying to work on being diligent with my time. That I want to be very, very structured. Like when I watch, like Mark Wahlberg wakes up at 4 a.m., 5 a.m., gym, eat, bring kids to school, shoot, move. Right. He has a very structured daily schedule. So you can do everything you want. It's about finding the time to do it. So
it's discipline. It's my dad was in the Marine Corps, and so he kind of instilled in me kind of like, consistency and discipline. Consistency in the fact that you have to do something, do it to the best of your ability, and do it all the time, right? And be disciplined about it. Whether it's going to the gym, whether it's drinking water to stay hydrated, whether it's eating healthy, you got to stay diligent and you have to stay disciplined. And when you fall off, you can easily get back on. It's just going to take a lot of work, to do that.
For sure.
Now I read an article the other day about off of LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is such a weird social media site. It's a weird social media site. But one of them was like, oh, what successful people do. I was like, oh, of course, I'll click on that. Might as well. So I click on it, and it basically, this woman refutes the argument that, oh, if you don't wake up by 6, you're a slacker. She said, no, you wake up at the time that works best for you, and then you just prioritize your day much better, right? If you're better at waking up at 7, wake up at 7, then just do your day better. Instead of saying, oh, I have to wake up at 4. Well, maybe your body doesn't want you to wake up at 4.
I think waking up at 4 a.m. is more of a flex. Like, I wake up at 4, I work so hard. And I'll say this too, if you're posting on Instagram, grind, don't stop, and you put the timestamp before, are you doing it for yourself, or are you doing it to show other people that you are, whatever, dedicated, whatever that means? But I will say that, do you know Gary Vee?
No.
Gary Vee. So he posts kind of motivational content. He has his own wine company and now media company. He's really big on Instagram because he posts like daily inspirational videos. And one kid went up to him and he goes, Gary, I'm waking up at, it sounded like Kino by
Yeah, Gary.
No, he's like, Gary, I wake up at 4:30 a.m. I go to sleep at midnight. I'm grinding so hard. And he goes, dude, why you don't need to work, 17 hours to be successful. Just be smart with your time. Right. Do it well. That's the thing too that I found is that like with work especially, I feel like there's a mentality at BC of like last one in the library, first one in the library.
Yeah.
That if you're the last to leave, you're the hardest worker. Whereas there could be a kid that's in there for 2 hours and worked harder during those 2 hours than you did for 4 hours.
Work smarter, not harder is the best thing. And also, yeah, I can't. I'm the worst person at doing marathon studies in the library. I am very productive in say 30 minutes. I could write a 7-page paper in like an hour instead of pacing it out and doing it like that. I just don't work like that. And other kids don't work like that as well. You can be very efficient with your time. You grind like you're on Adderall. And then once it's done, right? Yeah. Other kids, take weeks to do it, or we'll sit in the library at 6 p.m. and end at 12 when it closes, right? And they can do that.
It's not like that. It's what works for you.
What works for you. And then you take what works for you and you make it better, right? You don't follow what other people do, because other people are different. You take what works for you and you make it better, and you make it work to whatever your goals are. Yeah. And it goes back to, what are your goals? Where do you want to end up? What does your future look like? Does it look like a white picket fence with children and a dog? Or does it look like the penthouse at Trump Tower in New York City, right? Everyone has different views and different goals, right? What is your goals? How are you going to achieve those? And that's how you guide your life, right? Yeah. Every means then will be a happy mean, and ultimately your ends will be successful.
There you go. I don't know. You want to close it up? One more song? And then
we'll wrap it up. Yeah.
That was good. All right.
Keep it locked and rocking here at the Motivational First Stop Podcast.
Thank you for tuning in today, guys. Today was an awesome episode. We started off talking about airlines, and we went very motivational.
Very motivational. Inspirational. I think today's podcast kind of reflects not only where we've been, over the last 20 odd years of our lives, right? I mean, 20
young lives.
Kind of our wisdom we've gathered, and kind of our observations. Because I think we're pretty perceptive people, and since we're perceptive people, we can help, whoever else is out there. But as always, follow us on Instagram. Follow us on SoundCloud.
YouTube will be a really active platform. I'm telling you, daily uploads on YouTube. Follow our personal accounts. I'm at Eric Groves 1443, I believe. I'm at Jacob Capozzi, Capozzi.
Follow us on our personal accounts. Email. We haven't checked in a while. It's firststopofficial@gmail.com.
Yep.
Website. Obviously has not posted in a while, but we'll post. So obviously check that out. We have merch. We don't make any money off of it, just to wear and support First Stop.
And that's on the website, firststopofficial.com.
Firststopofficial.com. We will see you at the next stop.